This week, episode 286 of Stogie Geeks, we have live in studio Tom Werther from Line of Duty Cigars, and we also have Greg Williams from Vintage Cigar out in Westerly coming in for a visit, and we're going to talk about Line of Duty Cigars, how they got started, what's going on, and of course, we'll do a little bit of talk about how retail is going over at Vintage right here on this edition of the Stogie Geek Show.
This is a Security Weekly production. Broadcasting live from G-Unit Studios in Rhode Island, it's the show where cigars burn slow, ashes fall fast, and cocktails flow steady. It's the Stogie Geek Show. Welcome, everyone, to the Stogie Geek Show. Joe and I are already silly.
Oh, yeah.
Joe Hozempa, a.k.a. Joe Hollywood, is here with me in studio.
I'm fired up.
Havana Cigar Club, located in Warwick, Rhode Island, is a great place to enjoy a drink and a cigar. Stogie Geeks listeners can find a $5 off coupon on our website by clicking the HCC logo.
You ready? Go. Welcome to episode 286 of Stogie Geeks. I am your host, Joe Hozempa. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for tuning in. We have in studio Tom Werther from Line of Duty Cigars. How are you, Tom?
Very good. Yourself?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Thank you for taking some time out. Looking forward to hearing your story. Super excited as to where your cigars are created from. Stogie Geeks listeners, you want to pay attention to this brand. I've had a lot of close personal feelings about this brand for almost a calendar year now, so we're going to get into that. And we have Greg, who's sometimes is no stranger to the show. How are you doing?
Good, my friend. How are you?
Good, good. We're going to save some time and talk a little bit about Vintage and how things are going. You guys just celebrated an anniversary.
Second year in the books. It's hard to believe.
Did that go by fast?
I feel like I opened last week,
Yeah.
let alone 2 years ago.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. I had a chance to take a swing by your place and check out the finished lounge.
Oh, the members only
Yes, and I had a chance to see your place first couple of weeks it was open, and so I can have comparison visuals. Did a phenomenal job.
lounge. Thank you. Appreciate it.
We'll get into that. That's some top-notch shit right there, I'll tell you.
That's good space.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, so we're going to get into that. I love the theme. It's awesome. It's a good time. So
Thanks.
yeah. So, Tom, Line of Duty Cigars.
Yep.
You founded it.
Did.
You spent some time in the cigar industry.
Well, I've been smoking cigars for 25, 26 years.
How long you been in the cigar industry?
3 years.
3 years. How's the cigar industry treating you?
Oh, great.
Great.
It's it's a learning experience. I've owned businesses before. Nothing quite like this. So I had the business smarts for it, but just learning the ins and outs and the do's and don'ts. But it's I've been surrounded by really amazing people that took the time to help out and guide me.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm very fortunate.
That's awesome. Well, let's tell the listeners what we're smoking. Some of the lines here at Line of Duty. I'm smoking the Grunt.
You are smoking the Grunt.
Yep.
That's a sun-grown wrapper. It's a mild to medium body flavor. I'm also smoking the Grunt. It happens to be one of my favorites. We have three lines in 2 different sizes. Greg is actually enjoying the CO, which is the Pennsylvania broadleaf wrapper.
Box press, baby.
It's a box press.
I love those box press.
PA broadleaf.
Now, Greg, personal question: are you having a little withdrawals on the ring gauge? Your normal?
No, the last few years, I don't know if it was on purpose or not, but my business partner Tom Clune, who we all know, I've noticed he's got away from the big ring gauges at our shop, and I think it was to wean me off of big ring gauges. Now that I look back, they just weren't there in front of me, so I stopped smoking.
Just to get you to stop smoking.
Yeah, I think it was on purpose. I'm not sure, but it could be. Brilliant move if it was.
Yeah. Have you graduated to Lanceros yet?
I will smoke a Lancero if it's the right Lancero. It needs to be a powerhouse.
Okay.
I've completely committed now to full body, 6 in the morning. Give me something that's going to punch me right in the mouth.
Well,
yeah.
That's the one you got in your face right now.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Tommy, when I had a chance to visit your place, I say a couple weeks ago. It was more like a couple months ago.
Yeah.
You know, last month's been a blur for me, right? It's been a blur for me.
Congratulations, by the way.
Yeah,
Greg.
thank you. For the Stogie Geeks listeners who have been hitting me up either at joeh@stogiegeeks.com or hitting me up on Facebook, asking me how fatherhood is treating me, how's my sleep. I get some tips and all that. Keep them coming. I really appreciate that. 3 weeks ago today, we had a baby boy in addition to the family. So
What's his name?
his name is Caden Joseph.
Caden Joseph.
So yeah, I'm speechless in regards to that. I could do a whole series on podcast on my first 3 weeks of of fatherhood and what to expect, and you try to predict stuff and all of that. It's been crazy, you know. So if I kind of get a little more off topic than what Joe normally does, just, you know, kind of poke me with a stick and
burn you
and keep me riveted there, you know. So we're both smoking the Grunt, and you're smoking, what was it again?
The CO.
The CO. Awesome.
Yeah. So all the cigars have a common theme and name because I'm a retired New York City detective. We were going after the themes that police officers, firefighters, and soldiers would all recognize.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So
yeah.
the Grunt, the FNG is another line that we do. It's a Rehiso wrapper. I don't know if I'm allowed to say what the F part means, but
yeah, you can.
The fucking new guy.
We all know the fucking new guy.
They all know the fucking new guy. So whether you're coming out of the police academy, the fire academy, or basic training, the FNGs come in. And all the guys that are there know, oh, we got 30 FNGs coming in.
Yeah, yeah.
So the CO is the commanding officer, which we all have in all three branches of service. And that's the angle we're taking.
Yeah.
We raise money for police, fire, and military families.
Yep.
So it's all kind of going common theme with the company.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, we're going to get into the FNG. Personally, my brother had became a police officer May 20th of 2016. I'm good with dates, right? As you can tell, before the previous episode, right? I mean, before we started. But, and my brother, about 4 weeks ago, was pumped because we finally caught up for a pint, and before my kid was born and everything, you want to make sure he's my little brother, right? Wanted to make and he's also been a integral part of my career because when I first started in advertising and he was fresh out of college, he always wanted to become a police officer, and then he was a constable there for the town. And then I remember him, and then fresh out of college, he ended up working for my agency. And long story painless, when he finally went through the training and did what he had to do, he left the agency, became a police officer. And about a month ago, when we were having the pint over at the local pub in our town, I remember him, like, his first thing, like, after, like, me, how's the kid, you okay, how's your mind, everything's good, you need anything? He's like, man, I'm so pumped at work. I go, why? He goes, I'm not the FNG no more. Because new recruits were coming in, and like, they hired two, so it was like a bonus for him, you know what I mean? And so I'm very familiar with that. I guess that's a big
to be the one FNG, though, you get to the place and you're the only FNG.
Yes.
Like, you're the only one that gets
worst.
the abuse. But if this, in the NYPD, our class would have been 2,000 guys, men and women graduate, and then when you get to your command, you might be one of 30, or in my case was 60. So we had 60 FNGs.
Because you're in New York.
Yeah, yeah.
So you've always done your tenure in New York.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, we're going to talk a little about that. Must have been rowdy.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah.
Bronx, New York. It was
right. Cake. What were you there for any of the baseball games? They give you any of the detail, the good ones? Or?
I've been to. I'm a Mets fan, but I've been to more Yankee playoff and World Series games than I would care to admit.
Yeah. Yeah. So you're a Mets fan? You have to sit through all of that debacle?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
But I'm also a baseball fan, so watching a good game always kind of take precedence for me. Yeah,
for sure. It's a great time of year. I mean, so you're a Mets fan, so obviously the Red Sox clinched the division. Yankees are still with their skeleton crew. I'm a Yankee fan. I've been to the World Series at 2001, right after 9/11, when Kurt Schilling pre-acting lessons with the bloody sock and all that with Arizona. I went to there, and I remember my fellow Yankee fans are like, oh, man, we got this skeleton crew. I can't believe, I'm like, dude, we've been on a skeleton crew since 2003.
Yeah.
Like, where have you
You're
been?
in the playoffs, though. Like,
right,
really? I mean, that's what you play the whole season for.
Yeah, it's a tough division. I mean, the Red Sox are just getting it done, playing with momentum, and playoff baseball is a different game.
Yep, and it's mental.
Yeah.
So, especially the Sox and the Yankees, it's a mental thing.
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't matter who's better or who's not. It just things happen in that game,
Yeah, I bought a quick story, then we'll get to the business, I guess, right? I'm warming up, right? Quick story. I bought the Memorial Day Yankee hat. You know, it's got the 5 stars and the camo. You know, every team has one, the same thing, the logo. I wore it for Chinese food. Like, and people are like ranking me. I'm like, dude, really? Like, can we please like get over this? But anyway, it's a good time.
I'm an American in America.
Right,
I want to wear my red, white, and blue hat.
Right.
You know?
So you've been in the cigar industry as Line of Duty. So your resume cigar has you started the Line of Duty project.
Yes.
If you want to visit Tom and his products, you go to lineofdutycigars.com. So your experience is being a owner of lineofdutycigars.com and taking care of the line of cigars that everything is under there.
Yeah.
So how did you get started with that? Talk to me about that actual concept. Like, you know, because obviously you've been smoking cigars for how long?
27
26 years. We all know the story. We love the opportunity to sit with each other, enjoy and talk about, in my world, you know, how to save the world. What, you know, I can't believe those jabronis on the news are acting like this. You know, everything, or sports, or family things, or values, life values. We all know what the opportunity that cigars can bring.
Sure.
The amount of doors, business-wise, that cigars can bring to the table. When you were trying to come up with a concept for that business, take us through your methodology for that.
Well, you know, I'm 46 or 47. I'm not really sure right now. I've spent my whole life as a kid, 13, 14 years old, in fundraising activities in the local volunteer fire department. And then when I went to the police department in 1994, I was also involved in other fundraising activities locally and throughout the police department. So when I retired in 2005, I was injured in the line of duty. I wanted to start something. I wanted to do more to keep that tradition of what my family does in fundraising. So I had these ideas, what was going to go on. But then we ran into some personal stuff. My dad got sick and passed away. My sister, Hurricane Sandy. I mean, there's a whole lot of stuff going on in that like 6 or 7 year period. And I always wanted to do whatever I was going to do. It was going to be called Line of Duty.
Okay.
So I had other products in mind. I had this other concept.
Bags of popcorn.
Yeah, exactly. Line of Duty popcorn. It's amazing.
outside of the industry.
Yes.
Okay.
It was not cigar related, and I really can't get into that because I'm in negotiations now to actually launch that.
Sure.
Cigars were coming down the line. But with the FDA looming in 2016, we didn't have much of a choice. If we were going to get into the cigar market, we couldn't add it later. We had to start with it. So Line of Duty was already a concept. It was an easy transition. I knew the names. I knew what I wanted to do. The difficult part was finding someone to make them.
Yeah.
In such a short time. Like we were kind of pressed up against the wall and said, well, if you're not on the market by August of 16, you're not in the business, you know? So we jumped right in with 2 feet, knowing literally nothing about the cigar industry per se, the business side, and what it would take to actually be successful. So it was a completely organic company, growth from zero to where we are now, which I'm very proud of. And thank goodness my wife and family have been so supportive, because I can't be where I am now without them. And obviously the support of lounge owners and other people in the industry. Like, you know, I met Greg in Vegas. He's a retired cop. I'm a retired cop. Hey, Greg, try this out. Wow, this is amazing. We got to get you in the shop. And that was it. You know, I know folks in this industry that have to go to a shop 8, 10 times to even be considered to get shelf space. And we just haven't run into that yet. So we're very fortunate.
I think a lot of that is because of who you've chosen, for sure, to manufacture and roll, and for the creation. And we'll get into that. How much you were involved within that creation process, for sure. You know, because I've been involved in the cigar industry for over 23 years now myself. Various points. I was a cigar rep. I was a cigar rep for a very short time, and then pre that,
they're the unsung heroes. Let me tell you, the reps are the unsung heroes in this industry.
Yeah, I was a rep. I was a rep at the wrong time for where the company was, and what I mean by that is that they had remade me an offer to go back, and then to do that because the company's in a different spot. And since then, I've transitioned out of that and had done Stogie Geeks full time, and now I'm here at Security Weekly, and I got my own personal business and stuff like that. So it's just not a good time. I have some other brokers that could possibly take over that project, but I'm like, you got to know in business that that
Too much on the plate is not good.
Too much on the plate is there. But I've been a rep. I used to own a retail shop on Wickenden Street in Providence, which then merged into another shop over on Atwells Avenue. So, you know, I know what it's like to be a retailer. I know what it's like to be a retailer. It was the late 90s, early 2000s, pre-reps.
Yeah.
Like, it was a catalog. Different ball game.
Yeah.
You know, there were no events, come meet the rep. There were no, you know,
samples,
buy four, get one. It's
sure.
like, it's crazy. You know
Here's a
what I
book, order from it, we'll ship it to you, and there's no personal connection.
There was no personal connection. So,
Yeah.
you know, you which I thought was a good thing at the time, because you really, as a shop owner, you really rely on yourself. If you have partners and stuff like that, sure, them too. But you also have to rely on your employees. And now, like, I still feel that when it comes to retail, there's not enough onus on the employees. Now, I speak to cigar shop owners all the time, and at all different capacities. And they're like, well, you know, Jojo, it's like, you know, people, you know, my rep doesn't need to know about what's in the humidors. And like, they're absolutely,
Of course they do.
If they develop a relationship with the rep, that's what sells, because a lot of the cigar connoisseur or the cigar enthusiast or whoever visits the shop might want a different palate. Might, you know, unless you get the ones that I only smoke Ashton.
I know exactly what I want.
I only smoke this. But most of them, like, oh, they want to know the latest and greatest.
But that's sales, though. I mean, if you want to go to a Ford and you walk in and you've never had a Ford before, and you sit down with the salesman and you ask the question like, does it come with a spare tire? And they go, oh, you know what? Let me check on that.
Right.
Is this 4-wheel drive? Oh, you know what? Let me look at the book. You have to know the product that you're selling.
Know.
So you walk into a cigar shop, unless it's the owner. Well, I mean, I don't mean unless it's the owner. More often than not, the owners know the product. Sometimes you run into a salesperson that doesn't know the product.
Sure.
And you own a retail store, so you know the importance of having everyone on board.
Yeah.
If you're going to sell this product, you need to know it inside and out.
Right.
And I understand it's difficult because, you know, you probably have 150 faces.
No, we're close to 400.
400.
Yeah.
You see that?
That's crazy.
Lack of sleep deprivation.
Yeah.
400. So the customer walks in, and if they don't know those products, the onus lies on the salesperson, which is maybe the person behind the register or behind the bar or whatever it is, to educate you a little bit, bring you along. Oh, that's kind of good, or I'm not really sure. That's not an answer you want as a consumer. You want to try something new, something exciting? Hey, I love Black Label Trading Company. What do you got? Oh, you like them? You're going to love Line of Duty.
Right.
And then bring them in, you know.
Right.
But you got to know the product.
Right. And I've often said to them, like, you know, have them do like 5 a week. Like, pick 5, 6 a week. They don't have to smoke them. Like, if it's just a job for them, especially if it has a liquor license, because now there's been a big merge. And see, when I was around, it was BYOB, right? It was this whole lounge concept is now blown up. It's kind of ridiculous, right? You know, some people often serve pizza too. Like, you know, if I want pizza, I'll go to a pizza place. If I want, you know,
Pizza and cigars.
You know, like me, when I go visit your place, I either come or go to Mystic afterwards.
Sure.
You know what I mean? It's you know,
it's close enough.
I'm a typical Rhode Island. I got to go all the way to Westerly, right? You know, I pack a lunch. It's a day trip.
Apparently, you haven't had pizza in Brooklyn yet, have you?
I sort of explained that to Tom last night. We talked a little bit about Rhode Island and different shops, and you know, he said, well, how far is Providence from here? We were sitting in the shop in Westerly, and I said, it's an hour. And he said, well, that's not far. And I said, no, you don't understand.
Well, that's because it takes an hour to drive, you know, 16 miles in New York City.
Right.
Yeah, right.
Said,
To get from Queens to Manhattan is an hour and 10 minutes without traffic.
I'm not going to see any cigar fans from the city of Providence unless they're in Westerly on vacation.
Yeah.
Well, when they find out that the Vintage is carrying the Line of Duty cigar, they're going to drive the hour.
That's hopefully right. Highly doubtful, but hopefully right.
Yep. So when you started the concept of the Line of Duty, what did you want, like, the buying persona to be of your target customer? You know?
My target customer is typically the cop, the firefighter, the soldier. You know, there's 50 million people in this country that have either actively or retired, have served in some capacity in those 3 branches of service. So that was the market, to give them a really good cigar at a good price. But more importantly, as a cop, I've been to thousands, and Greg could attest to it, thousands of events. 1013. 1013 is a call for assistance in NYPD. So we have 1013 parties, and they raise money for a family member or family, a cop. And I've had countless shirts and hats and mugs and pens and you name it. If they put a cop's name on it at an event, people are going to buy it. So I wanted to give them something more than that. you know, if you come to an event and it's raising money for the family member, you're getting this cigar, you're going to enjoy it, you'll come back and buy it again. You're going to buy that shirt once, and you're only going to have that one shirt. With Line of Duty Cigars, you go on the website, you order whatever you're going to order, whether it be cigars or custom ashtrays that we make. You choose the charity that we donate to. So there's a drop-down menu for police charities, fire charities, and military charities. So the customer is in control of where we send the money. So giving them that aspect, which is a very original business technique, if you will, because no one else is doing it. There are lots of companies out there that say, we donate to this fund, or we donate to that fund. We let you choose where
that's awesome.
To do it. And then if you're having a golf outing or an event or a cigar night, so we were looking to give back to the men and women, the everyday guy, that can't afford the $15 cigar, you know, 2 or 3 times a week. You know, they read their MSRP is between $6 and $7.25, $7.50 on our website. You can't walk into a shop or even online to get a really good $7 cigar. And Greg knows that. In New York City, they're not allowed to sell cigars that are under, I think it's $8.80.
Sure.
So that's out. You know, so to give, that was the target, and not just the cops, firemen, and the military, but their families, their supporters. So our Facebook group, which is 17,000 deep, is a lot of supporters of. So Mary Jane may not be a cigar smoker, but her uncle or brother or sister or cousin is. And then they come to us, they order cigars to them, and then they see that the donation was made to the charity that they chose. So it's a unique aspect of what we're doing.
Yeah, and it really is, because how I found out about you, I was sitting at a cigar lounge, and someone who was a cop, firefighter, said, "Hey, Greg down at Vintage has this new line of cigars coming out. You should give him a call." And then I just pulled out the phone, I gave you a call that day. I left him a message and said, "Hey, I want to talk to you about this Line of Duty Cigars." And that's so it's good that with the buying persona, and I think that in this day and age, your timing is perfect with that, because we talk about that whenever we interview people here week in, week out of Stogie Geeks. If they're from the boutique revolution, like a Black Label, right, boutique company, or if they're like the classic facings, your Romeo and Julieta, General Cigars, etc., right? So, it's like they have the brand recognition, they've been around for a while. They might have the purchasing power. They might have all the business elements that are structured for them to be successful, but none of the storyline. Versus the boutique cigar seems to develop the storyline, and because of the way technology is with Facebook or Instagram or social media or blog post or however you want to do, you can purchase something and share, "Hey, I bought this," or whatever. Because of that technology, they can now have almost like brand ambassadors.
That's what we have.
And if you can develop that culture, and no one has done it better, my opinion, right? Even though they do sponsor the show, no one has done it better than Georgia State, right? It's just the way it is, right? Jonathan Drew can hold a flash event tomorrow.
Yeah.
And
have 3,000 people
because
there.
of technology, and then bang, and it's to no increment towards you, but you or Black Label or another boutique cigar company, let's say Illusione or Caldwell, can advertise with the shop's channels and all of that for months in advance or weeks in advance, and not even
touch that
because they don't have brand ambassadors, people who are attached to the brand. Now, the fact that you're giving your consumer the ability to choose which charity that they want to go for, a percentage of that, I think it's genius. And the fact that they can do it technology-wise with the click of a mouse is even better on your part. It's not like a pain, self-addressed stamped envelope and call it's there, or So hats off to you for starting a business and realizing that, hey, we can start this and we can become efficient right away at this process, and if we're efficient in this box here when we start, we're now going to have brand ambassadors who are going to encourage our brand to actually go forth.
We did it actually reverse than what most companies would do, in that you start a cigar brand and you get your product and you start knocking on doors. And now you're asking people that don't know your product, going to a guy like Greg and saying, Tom, and saying, "Hey, this is our product. Do you like it? Try it." And then you build a website to tell people about it. So we started it in 2016. Building the website first and building the social media aspect on our online sales. So now when we launched into the wholesale market, I had 14,000 followers on Facebook, I don't know, maybe 6 months ago, that were waiting for it to be in shops. I went to Mentor, Ohio I brought my kids to the Hall of Fame, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and there's a shop in Mentor called Red Wine and Brew, and they said, hey, you're going to be in, one of the girls, Kim, who's a friend of mine, said, oh, you're going to be in town, you should come by the shop. So within like 3 days' notice, I said, yeah, I'll pop in. Not only did the shop order a nice order for me to bring to them, but there were 25 people waiting there for me within 2 days.
Yep.
Now, John Drew would have 2,500 in 2 days, but for someone like me that came out of nowhere, that doesn't know a whole lot of people, but has a social media following, in just a few days, 25 people. The shop was happy because they sold product to meet, and then most of them were cops, to meet them, to like what we're doing. And then, you know, I left there with making new friendships. And then, sure enough, within 2 or 3 days, I saw a 30% spike in sales just going to Ohio area.
Right.
So it's and now they're customers that'll stay with us and continue to support what we're doing.
Right.
So
and from a business perspective, the methodology works, right? So if you have brand ambassadors and you have a painless process in place where shop owners can order from you, or the consumer can go to your website and purchase and pick the charity and participate in that, it'll just get bigger and bigger from there, for sure.
But I'm also a huge customer service whore. I everywhere I choose to spend my money, whether it's a restaurant, whether it's a bar, whether it's an online store, I want to be treated like I'm the only person in the world right now that exists to you, and I treat everyone the same way. We ship every day. So someone recently said, like, I ordered on Friday morning, and I had my cigars on Saturday afternoon. Like, it's every day. Oh, you know what, Tom? I ordered 7 cigars, and I only got 6. No problem. Here's 4 more. Like, treating people like, we don't exist without them. So treating them like every single one of them is the most important person to me. Is I think another big part of the success of the company, because you have to. You have to. There's always someone else, especially in this industry. It's a saturated market. There's a lot of people making really great products. How do you stand out? What do you do differently? That's one of the things
we've all heard horror stories about some of the companies that don't provide that customer service anymore, and some of the companies, the more traditional companies, that have gone a little stale and don't market aggressively. Which you have to in 2018 with the social media or just any marketing in general. You know, the same companies that probably haven't changed their box in 50 years, haven't changed a label in 50 years.
And you can't afford that one or two negative something. Someone gets pissed off at something that I could have made better by simply sending a few extra cigars or addressing their emails immediately.
You can't afford it.
No.
They can, and unfortunately, it's become acceptable to them. And it's not acceptable. It should never be acceptable. It should have never been acceptable.
Right.
But unfortunately, they've grown to the level where, that's fine. Okay.
You have a problem, you come to the owner.
We lost one customer today. We gained 400, but we lost one. That's an acceptable loss.
It's not.
There's never an acceptable loss, and I think that goes back to
that one
where
loss
we came from.
That one loss turns around and gets on their social media account, and all of a sudden you've got 500 losses.
Sure.
And then that's not why we do it. We do it because we're good people, and we want to treat people the way I want to be treated, the way I was raised. So you just treat everyone like that. And honestly, what's the difference on a $10 cigar, $8, whatever it is that made them happy? And they go, oh, wow, thank you. Like, you went out of your way to do that.
Right.
Of course. I mean, we're not talking about $300 Jordan sneakers.
Yeah, right.
We're talking about a cigar.
Right.
Make them feel like you appreciate their business.
It's refreshing. You didn't come from the traditional business world.
Right.
And you came from a world where it does matter to you, and it's not just dollars and cents, which unfortunately in the traditional business world, including cigars, when you get to a certain level, the corporate level, it's a spreadsheet. It's numbers. It's dollars and cents.
Yeah.
And when you see a startup company like Line of Duty Cigars and Black Label, they're not a startup anymore, but they're still hungry, they're still passionate, they still enjoy what they do. It's not numbers to them, it's not a spreadsheet to them, there's still passion behind it.
It's family,
it's always
too.
refreshing.
Yeah.
I mean, the relationship we have with James and Angela Brown is amazing. You know, if I need something done, I call or an email and it gets answered. I need a Skype, I want to talk about something. It's okay tomorrow. It's this afternoon.
Right.
Where larger companies, it's like we often refer to it. My wife would say the wedding factory. So we got married in Turks and Caicos on a beach because she didn't want to get married in a factory, the typical catering hall where you're just another two faces. You're getting the same fish, salmon, chicken that we've served 6,000 times this year alone.
Yep.
we get treated differently.
Yeah.
And when we went to Black Label, when we went to Oveja Negra, which is the factory, we went to Oveja Negra. The acceptance, you know, they're from Austin, Texas. They're blue-blooded Americans. They want the same things we do, and they were just loving it. Like,
before you take us through that process, you brought up a couple interesting things, and I want to, you know, I want the Stogie Geeks listener to try to understand when I interview people week in, week out, and try to get to the heart of this process, right? Statistically proven, if you have a new product, right, let's just say it's this cutter, right, it takes 7 touches to lead to a call to action. So in other words, they see it on your website, they see it on their feed. Now you can do chaser ads. Can't do it in tobacco, alcohol, or firearms industry, but you know, if you ever Googled something and all of a sudden it shows up in your Facebook feed, you do the feeds, you do that there. It takes 7 touches, word of mouth, etc., right? When it comes to camaraderie in the buyer's cycle, and what I mean by that is another brand that comes to mind, full disclosure, they're not a sponsor of the show, Hiram & Solomon, where you have the Masons, there's a camaraderie.
Sure.
Right?
Absolutely.
Then, okay, so there's a camaraderie behind it. Then, obviously, Line of Duty with police, ambulance, firearms.
First responders.
Yeah, for first responders, military, right? There's a camaraderie, right? Through that
exists in no, I'm going to tell you right now, there's no other aspect of any job or any network that is as strong as that network. Hands down.
That's the point I wanted to drive home. That's the point I wanted to drive home for the not only the listeners but the potential sponsors who are some classic facings, and that's what they're missing. That's the element that they're missing. That's the element that the industry is missing. That's the element that retail cigar shops are missing. You know, if you go to a Casa Fuente out in Vegas, that employee knows their shit. Like, now, granted, you spend $26 for a $16 cigar. I get it. It's Vegas, overinflated. Sure, it is what it is. But they know their stuff. And what I think is great, obviously, if you're in the service industry, for the first responders industry, you gotta know your stuff, right? If you're a firefighter or a police officer, you gotta learn to address situation. And because you're trained to leave no one behind, right? Even military, leave no one behind, and do that. And if that's embedded within your business,
friend or enemy,
right. To do that, it becomes part of the business culture. I think it's just a win-win. And what I think and know that you'll see is an escalation in that process when it comes to the buyer's experience. You know, a question. Were there anybody else in the run-in besides Black Label before you get into how you got started with Black Label?
Well, we had started with originally Placencia.
Okay.
That was our first factory.
Okay.
And we just didn't see eye to eye along the lines, you know. I mean, like any other business that you have a distributor for X, Y, or Z. If it's just not working, it's just not working.
Sure.
So our online cigars are not made at Oveja Negra. They're made at La Perla by Guillermo Pena. Really great guy, talented, been in the business forever. His family, his sisters, his mother, his father, rollers from Cuba. So they do our online sales stuff. I went to Nicaragua when I sent a random email to James Brown and said, hey, this is who I am, this is what I'm doing. Any chance we can get a Skype? Within a day, I got a response. Hey, what are you doing Tuesday at 10 o'clock?
Yeah.
It's like, wow, that was easy.
Yeah, it's amazing in business. All you got to do is ask. You know what I mean? It's amazing. It's like the walls are not there.
But that's everything. That's
life.
That's
life. It is life. But
it really is. People are so afraid to just take that leap of faith, that step to say, hey, can I have a favor? Because in essence, I was asking for a favor.
Sure.
I'm a random stranger. Yeah. Can you? Busy guy. You know, he's in the middle of they had got out of their old factory. They were opening Oveja Negra.
I remember that.
And there he was,
I was down
squeezing in an hour to some guy he doesn't know.
Who is not an industry name.
Yeah, exactly, nothing. But I think a lot of that had to do with that's how he started.
That speaks to their character.
Yeah, but that's how he started. They weren't industry people either.
Yeah.
They had traveled all over the world. They did a lot of really great things in Guatemala, and they ended in Nicaragua. And they said, hey, you know what? This is what we want to do. They immersed themselves. They built relationships. They're one of their master blend, I don't want to say master blender, but one of their, I guess, factory managers was their first person that they dealt with when they got there. And he's still there, you know, 7-8 years later. So I feel like, we did the same thing they did, and they recognized it, and they supported it. And, so going and meeting with them, that was it. I didn't need to have any other meetings after that.
Yep.
There was no reason to it. Tasting the blend, I said, no, this is it. I don't need to go anywhere else.
So taking the listener to this podcast, it goes both audio and video there. So you came up with the concept of the Line of Duty Cigars. You knew the methodology of what you wanted. You wanted to have certain proceeds, be able to go out to the various cause of what your customer feels that's important. Having that there, you already had the concept lined up. Then you interviewed a couple cigar companies, and it sounds like you got superior customer service from Black Label, and that's what led you to your decision.
I don't know if it was customer service, as it just wasn't. I felt better about it.
Okay.
Even with Guillermo at La Perla, it was a different relationship. If I have a problem, I pick up a phone. I get someone on the other side, and we talk about it. Again, the wedding factory. Placencia does, what, 35, 40 million cigars a year? That's a large operation, which was great, and I'm so grateful, because I wouldn't be sitting here if they did take that risk on me in the beginning. But as we grew, I just thought, maybe there's something else. It's like getting a second opinion. Go to your first doctor. He says, "Oh, you got cancer. You're dead in 3 months." Like, you don't just say, "All right, I'm going to Vegas, honey." Like, you start talking to other doctors.
I guess I better cancel that plane ticket.
Have you told anyone in the industry that that there were other candidates in the making besides Black Label, or no?
No, there was no reason to.
They never, yeah.
No, but once I linked up with James and Angela, there was no reason to.
Yeah.
It's not almost like, oh, well, you turned me down so high. Like, no, I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't ask a whole lot. You
Sure.
know, I wasn't looking for a whole lot. I'm very low maintenance.
Yeah.
If you do the right thing by me, I'll do the right thing by you. I knew their product, and was just
So obviously you consume their product.
Yeah, sure.
You're a fan of the brand.
Oh, love.
I'm a fan of the brand. Before we get into fanboy stuff, so now you made a decision that this is the group that is going to produce
our wholesale. Yep.
This is it.
Yep.
Take us through that process. How did that work for you?
Like from going down there and the whole.
Yeah, like what I want.
I'll tell you.
So you remember like where this is going. Some of the Stogie Geeks listeners just listen to audio, so they kind of want a visual. So you went down to the factory.
Here's the visual.
This is what I want to know. Like
careful
how many birds are in the sky?
Yeah.
Was someone riding a bike to the factory?
No.
Like, take us to a typical day.
I'll tell you what. The way this whole process started was, he says, "Hey, James says, Tuesday Skype. Have this Skype, and then 40 minutes in, I'm thinking, all right, this isn't going to happen." He says, all right, so thank you for the time. And I'm thinking, all right, well, got to go bang on another door. I was really hoping for this. And then, like 10 seconds later, he says, so when are you coming to Nicaragua? I was like, I didn't want to show my excitement. I go, I could be there tomorrow.
Did you go to the next? Did you?
No. So we set a schedule. They were in the middle of moving the factory. He said, look, we're in the midst of this huge transition. Can you come on this day or within these 3 days? We'll be in the new factory. I really want you to be here when in the new place.
Sure.
So 3 weeks, 4 weeks later, whatever it was, I'm on a plane. I'm in JFK. I'm on my way to Esteli. Land the plane. I've never been there. The drive from Managua to Esteli was horrifying,
sure,
to say the least.
Cliffs.
Wait till you've done it a bunch of times. You just don't even look out the window anymore.
I was eyes forward, cops everywhere, stopping, and I heard these stories about, always have a 20 here, or have a second driver's license. So I'm nervous. I'm a cop. I could talk my way to anything.
Sure.
Here. We roll into town. We have our meeting the next day. I drove by it 4 times. It's up a little hill. It was day one. They literally were still unpacking boxes. So I'm driving back and forth. I'm like, it's got to be here. It's got to be here. And finally, it hits me. I see the black sheep. His logo's got the black sheep in the round circle.
Yep.
The white outline. There it is. I go up there. It's beautiful. I mean, I don't know if you've seen the video. Greg, you've been there, yeah?
I haven't been there.
Tom
I've been to Esteli several times.
Tommy has, because I've gone a couple off the line, but that'll be the vintage section.
I just walked in not knowing what to expect. You're thinking, my mind, third world country, rundown build. This is this beautiful factory.
Yeah.
It's open. It's like the Bloomberg model where you can see what everyone's doing. So no matter where they are, unless they're in the office on the side, they see the role as the aging room's here. The peons are in the back. Like I'm like, wow, this is pretty amazing. As gracious as it gets. He's got a room on the side, big giant table, couches, just to hanging out. Again, never met the man, never met Angela, know nothing. So happy to meet you. Thank you for coming down here. We've got these really great samples. And it's like you go to a restaurant and you pick Jean-Georges or Daniel or Per Se or any of the fancy French places in Manhattan. you eat something, and if something's not right about it, you don't go to the chef and say, you know what, it probably needs a little more garlic, or you know, so you wouldn't do that. But they were so open. They said, hey, what do you like about this? What do you like about that? And it was that was the process. Like, I had a little bit of control in what we're going to do. I didn't want it because I am, you know, on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm a -3, and these guys are, you know, 10s.
Sure.
In the short time they've been in the business.
Right.
I mean, it's funny, Benjamin Holt is his rep in Texas, calls him the ninja of broadleaf.
Yep.
James Brown, the ninja of broadleaf. It's significant. Even down to the detail of the broadleaf has got a vein that runs through it, and it's pretty significant. Like, you feel it in your hands.
Yep.
Every roll has got a dowel rod next to him, and he roll that vein out nice and flat. It's this beautiful piece of tobacco leaf. Here, try this. Wow. You like that? Yeah, try this one. Oh, my God. And these are blends that aren't on the market. Sure. These are blends that he worked on in the last 6 weeks. And again, these cigars haven't aged. The tobacco's aged, but, you know, it's got to sit for 3-4 months to really meld and marry. Yeah. So he's saying, look, I don't know your palate, but if you like it now, you're going to love it in 3 months. So keep that in mind. If it's something that you're like, wow, yeah, this is really good, it's going to be amazing in 3 months. And we sat down for a couple hours just shooting the shit, talking, smoking, you know, about life, his kids, my kids, where we grew up, like a regular guy. Like, I wouldn't get that anyway. I couldn't go into Fuente and say, hey, you know, Carlos, let's sit down. Carlito, come on, let's make something, you know? Sure. But yeah, it was a family atmosphere, and they absorbed the concept of what we're doing, and it's just been a great ride.
So then, business-wise, you mirrored the blends to the names that you had in mind.
Yep.
And then you created your line of cigars. Anything new coming out within the next?
Actually, yeah, we have.
Because I'm sure it's been a whirlwind, right? It's been a whirlwind 3 years.
It's been crazy.
You're starting a business. You look for market penetration. You're getting it. You're getting a phenomenal brand ambassadorship. You know, you're getting all the positives, right? But you know, it's kind of like innovate or die, right?
Yeah.
You know, this year and maybe next year, it's your lines now, and then all of a sudden, you fast forward, it's October of 2019. You have something coming up that you want to.
So we have a new. It's not new. We had it on the market before August 16, but we haven't produced it second run yet, and it's called the 470. And the 470 cigar, it's called 470 Twins. So it's an honor or tribute to the 470 police officers, firefighters, and military that were killed on 9/11. So it's 2 cigars. 1 cellophane wrapper with a cellophane divider in the middle. So it's meant to be shared with your buddy.
Awesome.
So it's 2 together, box of 20. It's a barber pole design. It's a phenomenal cigar. We're going to have it probably in the next month or so.
That's great.
That's one of the ones that we're new release will be. Not, I mean, a re-release, I should say.
Yeah, I love the concept packaging that's a share with. You know what I mean? Davidoff does a phenomenal display of this with the Davidoff Golf, right? It's a 5-pack. It's Davidoff Golf series. They have the Davidoff Chef series, etc. But in regards to the Davidoff Golf, you have 4 cigars, and then they have the white band on it, and then they have the gold one. And the idea, and it comes with a scorecard and everything.
Dynamite.
And the idea is the winner of the foursome gets the gold cigar. You know what I mean? Now, full disclosure, I had a couple packages of Davidoff Golfs. I did not share them.
You didn't get the gold either.
You know what I mean? I just, what are you smoking?
Nothing. You shot an 82? Is that what you tell us?
I smoked nothing. You know what I mean? That's just a stick. You know what I mean? I'm testing it. I got to write a review or something.
There's only one way you're guaranteed that gold cigar.
But again, it's like the concept, because it really is a lot better. I mean, I get obviously from my personal network, so do you, and you, I'm sure. Hey, what are you doing next week? Tomorrow. Let's get together for a cigar. It happens all the time. You know what I mean?
It's meant to build relationships.
Because
it's
every day.
Yeah, every day.
And the 470, that can mean something.
Yeah.
The twins together and sharing with those guys. I mean, there's a lot. There's a lot of people that have been affected by that. Not just New York City people. There's been 4,000 people have died since 9/11.
Yeah.
And everyone knows someone that was severely affected.
Oh yeah.
Unfortunately, a lot of us know more than others.
Yeah. But that was a crazy day and a crazy year.
And we're not capitalizing on that event. We're not. We're not minimizing that or trying to jump on the bandwagon of that, because I was down there. But the idea of the company, what we're doing, was to raise that funds and the awareness. So I don't feel like I'm taking anything from anyone. We're giving more than we're taking. Certainly, we're we invested a significant amount of money in this company. Haven't made a dime.
Yeah.
You know, it's all about the donations. Eventually, that might come. It may not.
Yeah.
But that's what we're doing.
That's awesome. So if you're local, you can check out Line of Duty Cigars over at the Vintage Cigar Lounge over in Westerly. If you're a Stogie Geeks listener and you're listening to this online, just throw in Line of Duty Cigars into Google or go to lineofdutycigars.com. You can purchase the cigars right there.
Yep.
And they got some swag for you as well.
Absolutely.
For sure. And bonus, you get to choose
The charity.
the charity that you want to do it for.
And
now you're having an event tonight.
Yeah, we're going to be at the Vintage Greg's shop in Westerly tonight for our first.
Is this your first visit to Vintage? Well,
yeah.
Awesome.
I rolled in at I don't know 11:30 last night. Traffic
10:30, 11 o'clock last night.
The storefront. I rolled up. and I was like, that's not a cigar shop. That's in New York City. Everything's so small. Because, the space. And just walking in, and Greg and Tommy were like, "Oh, but check out this area." I'm like, "Oh, look at this room." This is
and it goes to another room and another room.
Like 8 or 10 guys can hang out here and have their own little party and watch the game. I said, "Oh," he goes, "Oh, wait."
There's
it's like
more.
Exactly. It's like a commercial, but more. Can it Corey Apple? It can even Corey Apple. You know? And next room, I'm like, oh, look at this. There's another bar. Like, oh, look at this back room. Oh, this is open 24/7 for members.
Yeah.
They slide a card and they come in at 2 o'clock in the morning because that's where I left at 1:30 and I felt badly because these guys are probably beaten. I'm wired up from the drive. You know, I hadn't had a cigar and I hadn't had a drink in at least 4 hours.
Yeah, right.
So it's like I wanted a glass of something. And at 2:30 in the morning or 4 o'clock in the morning, 5 a.m. before you go to work, scan the card, go in, sit down, have your morning coffee, have a smoke. And I was just like, if this was my home lounge, if this is within an hour drive of me, and I'm not just saying it because Greg's sitting next to me, if that was within an hour of me, I'd be a member there, hands down, without a doubt. It's top notch. The woodwork and the glass and what I really like is, even though I grew up in New York City, I come from a small town. To sit down, in that front room and people just walking by, knocking and waving, and then they keep going. Like, that doesn't happen in New York City.
No.
Sure.
They just tap it because, he owns that bar. Oh, there goes the mayor.
Yeah.
Like, hey, there's the mayor, you know?
Yeah.
Like, that's amazing.
It is. I live in a small town like that, too. It's just, we're on complete opposite sides of Rhode Island.
Sure.
It's the same way, and there's no local cigar shop in my town. You know, it's kind of bumming. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, politics. There's been talk of there's one coming. And,
Vintage North,
and
or?
all that stuff. And
Let me take a little rest first, please.
But it's just a great feeling. It's a great shop. You recently just launched with your anniversary. You've had your members lounge. If you want to take some time to talk about that. I mean, when I got the tour, when it was week 1 when you guys opened,
Sure.
and then you took the time out and you showed me you told me a vision, and there was literally like wood and saws, and then he's like, yeah, we're gonna put this here, we're gonna do this here, and then when I had a chance to watch it, man, it came out better than what you originally thought. Like
it did. It came out better than I envisioned, and first and foremost, I gotta thank. I mean, we have over 100 members already, and I gotta thank those members that trusted me and believed in my vision. Because I look back now and I think to myself how crazy I must have sounded sometimes walking through that back room, going, and I'm gonna put this here, and I'm gonna do that there, and this is going up here. And if I was on the other side of that conversation, I would have left going, this guy's nuts. Are you out of your mind?
Yeah.
It's not going to happen. And it did take longer than I expected, but that's construction.
Yeah.
That happens.
But 2 years later, you look back and you say, while it was going on, you don't even think about the possibility that it's not going to succeed. You're like,
sure.
You've got the passion, the aggression,
Sure.
You're all in. And now when you step back and it's done, you look back and you go, wow, this was a lot of work. This could have just ended terribly.
Sure.
And
what fueled that was the passion of some of the members. I one member in particular. He's a college student. His name's Ryan, and he was always away at college, but he's from Westerly, and so he joined the club with his uncle. And Ryan would come home on his college breaks, and he would see the progression. He'd be gone for 3 months. He'd come back and he'd see it, and it was always, wow, the changes in the 3 months. This is beautiful.
There's toilet paper now. Yeah.
And it really, it was people like Ryan that just fueled me to make it keep going. And then the everyday people that would come in every day and could say,
and that's
wow.
from a kid. That's not like a 45-year-old man that's established with a job. And like, that's a kid that has probably nothing and appreciates that.
Exactly. I saw it in our members. I saw it in our everyday members, or someone coming in every 3 months, just their passion of, wow, it really is coming along nicely. That looks beautiful. This looks beautiful. Great job. Keep it up. You know, we pre-sold over 100 members.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Prior to opening.
But you guys didn't have a shop before that, so you didn't have a game plan like, this is like when you move an apartment from one apartment to the next, you think about what's more important. I want more closet space, or I want a bigger kitchen. This is just like, organic. Start and say, hey, you know what? This is what we think we want.
It was organic, but you know, I always try to pay tribute. I'd been to a ton of shops. You know, I'd been to Havana multiple times next door here. You know, big influence on what I did down there. The way we run our shop, you know, closely mirrors how they run their shop. Hill and Harbor, Hanley's, you know, Twins, you know, Kurt Kendall.
Sure.
You know, even White Ash opening now. You know, I visit all these different shops, and that's where my ideas came from. I'd go and, I really like what they're doing there. Not so sure I'd do that, though. And, you know, maybe that works for them and it doesn't work for me. So I went in with everything up here. I probably should have taken a bar napkin and written it down in crayon.
Sure.
But I had it, and it wasn't I didn't reinvent the wheel. It wasn't.
But you did most of that woodwork yourself, right? I mean, like you put those walls up.
My partner Jesse helped when he can, and you know, we tried to get Tommy involved, but for those of you who know Tommy, know to never ever give Tommy any sort of power tool or even a hammer.
Yeah, I'm probably in the Tommy department. There's an ongoing joke at my local shop that I just have my first steel toe work boots. And that they were taking numbers when I was like, I'm going to build a nursery. You know, like, I get the child, and they're like, Jojo, give us a call. We'll have. No, I'm building this nursery by myself. And they're like, dude, like, realize you have 9 months to complete this process. I'm like, I got this. And I can honestly say, and so could you, that you've done it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I've done it.
Your wife trusts you to hold a little baby in your hands?
Well, absolutely. You know what I mean?
So where's the baby?
I built the crib and I built the thing and like, you know, you get new things, and now he's born and we're like, what's this thing do? This thing vibrates and swings. He'll probably be quiet for this. It's week 2. I'm kind of could use a little quiet for now. Let's put this together. And, you know, complaint, you look at the instruction books like, oh, my God, right? That's because it's 12 pages. It's only one page. It's 12 different languages.
6,000 parts.
Right? You know what I mean? But it's all things you learn and you kind of do. And I remember visiting very early when there was a stint where I was at your shop every week on a Thursday because I actually did a radio show across the street. And I was a member of that radio station, so I got to see the progress for that year when he was going. And Greg would come out and, like, sawdust. And, hey, man, I'm going back in. I got some things to do. All right, you know, that's cool. I got computer work to do.
And don't smoke by the sawdust pile, right? we'll be gone before we're open.
Right, but it's like to see, but you've built it. And there's a certain amount of pride that you have. And then when you go and you look at the finished showcase piece, I mean, I want to encourage you, if the Stogie Geeks listener ever takes a trip to Rhode Island, put Vintage down as a list of places to stop, because you can actually see what Greg built and company built and what the town is all about. And even if you have a significant other, you can take her because there's plenty of shopping that
the location
that they can do.
You're right off 95.
Yeah,
sure. Folks going to Martha's Vineyard, Providence, anywhere going to Boston, like, it's right off the highway. You get off. Right. It's a 3-minute rite, and then you're sitting in this lounge for an hour. We have lunch, whatever, grab a smoke, and you're right back on the highway. That's awesome. It's a really good location.
That's awesome. So before we wrap up, I want to talk to us a little bit about your event, or what if anybody wants to go, where the address is, where they can go if anyone's local and wants to jump in on that.
So we're at 47 High Street in Westerly. It's right downtown. Plenty to do. Plenty of shops and restaurants and bars to see. So you can come down and spend the whole night. We obviously have a full liquor license. We do not serve food, but boy, there's got to be a dozen restaurants within walking distance of our front door.
Yep.
So on our events, we pride ourselves on trying to have an event where you're going to actually be able to meet somebody from the company. And I want to touch on something real quick.
Please do.
You spoke about before when you mentioned Jonathan Drew's name. Tom sort of reminds me a tiny bit of JD, because, you know, as big as Jonathan Drew has gotten. You go to any one of these events and you see a line of hundreds of people waiting to meet him and talk to him and shake his hand. And he'll stop and he will talk and he will shake their hands. And if he's met them, he usually remembers their name. And he remembers something about them. He's a personable guy.
Well, he's a huge personality.
Yeah,
I mean, the guy is just...
And that's the same vibe I get from Tom. From the first time we met in Las Vegas, he's invested. He's invested in this completely. So to have the opportunity to have him in our shop, it's great. It's not just great for his cigar, but it's great for our customer base. Our customer base wants to be involved in the process. So it's not just we're selling a cigar. It's a lifestyle. So to have an owner of a company come in to do an event and sit and talk with you, meet you, shake your hand, hear about your story, maybe tell some of his story, that's part of a real good event. And that's what we always try to do. You can't always get a cigar company owner to come in, obviously.
Sure.
But we always try to at least get the rep there, and the reps seem to all be very personable, some more personable than others. But that's a big part of it. It's not just sell the cigar, sell the cigar, sell the cigar.
Well, part of the reason that we do, I owned a bar and restaurant a couple years back, and I remember being behind the bar at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and the sales rep for the liquor company came in, and he said, he knows I like bourbon, and I have no affiliation to this company. And he says, here, try this. And he takes out a bottle of Bullet. And I said, oh, great. Boom, he pours it. He's with another gentleman. And I said, this is really nice. And then I wasn't drinking it on the rocks. So I said, give me a neat. And the guy next to him said, I like my neat too. So the three of us had a drink of Bullet. And then he took his name, he took his card out. And I think his name is Tom Bullet. He goes, I'm Tom Bullet. I own the company. And I was like, here's Tom Bullet, the owner of Bullet Bourbon. They were kind of young still. Walking into this little place in Fishkill, New York, off the beaten path, not a big Manhattan place or anything of any significance. And the owner was there. And I said, give us 4 bottles. He said, really? I said, yeah, and if it sells, I'm going to probably drink the 4 myself. So you'll be back soon.
Yeah, right.
And I remember that's because that's the way I always been my whole life, that to go their way with John Drew, we met him in CI and Cigar Fest, and he's just this huge personality. And hey, he just wants to, he appreciates every person that buys a Drew Estate cigar. Jonathan Drew appreciates them. And I feel I try to emulate that.
Sure.
That I appreciate you, every single one.
And I see that. I saw that from the moment we met, that this guy's invested.
Yeah.
This guy's all in. And, and it speaks to his character and obviously the profession he came from and being so detail-oriented. It's a no-brainer for us to carry these cigars.
I mean, I can't run for public office because there's lots of pictures out there that I can't really defend, but I can sell a cigar.
That's right. You're better off. It's only 13% of that votes in the electorate anyway. It's ridiculous, That's exhausting.
Yeah, sure.
That's getting to be very exhausting.
Sure.
But,
it's what it is.
It is what it is.
It's a process. It's got to take place. And
so we'll have an event tonight, and no one... we sort of pride ourselves at our place that we don't talk politics. I don't allow it. Don't allow it in there.
Yeah.
No
Just
reason.
have fun.
No politics, no religion.
Yep. I actually have gone as far as people, they either find out I was with Stogie Geeks or they found out that I was on an AM station, which is like Politics 101.
Yeah.
I said, listen, I don't talk politics, sex, religion, or Yankees, Red Sox, baseball. I just don't.
we're not talking sex. I'm out of here.
And they're like, no, come on, sis. I'm like, dude, I'm sorry. And like, no. I'm like, no, I'm sorry.
Any one of them will lead to a fist fight.
I just can't. It's just exhausting.
Yeah, there's no need for it.
Smoke, drink, laugh.
Yeah, and
that's it.
There's no room for that in the cigar world.
Yeah.
There's not. There's just not.
But that doesn't really happen often. I go to a lot of lounges.
No, it doesn't.
I don't.
Where do you go?
New York City. I'm telling you, New York City. I've never walked into a lounge and sat down a complete stranger, and I'll strike a conversation up with anybody, and they'll do the same because that camaraderie that we talked about earlier in the cigar world is not like anything else. A bar over alcohol is one thing. Shit comes out. The cigars are completely. What are you smoking? Oh, what do you like about that? Oh, blah blah. Game's on. Or more often than not, there's a movie on. That's Jimmy Smith or whatever.
The lounge itself has to set that tone.
I totally agree.
You have to set that tone because there is some lounges that are so deep rooted with their customer base that sometimes they feel that it's their lounge and they're going to run it the way they want to run it, not
when they pay the bills.
Sure, absolutely. When they pay the bills, they
do what you want.
They can do what they want. They can change the radio station however they want.
Yep.
But we make sure it's our lounge. The three of us, the partners, all make sure we're on the same page with how we run it, and I think our customer base appreciates it.
Yeah.
They appreciate the cigars. Tommy's done a phenomenal job of opening that humidor and filling that humidor up, and
it's a great walk-in box.
Yeah.
A ton of product.
And it's evolved. It's completely evolved too. It's not stale. It's not. And I don't mean the cigars themselves are stale, but the products aren't stale. Tommy's done a good job seeing what moves in our market, and what doesn't move in our market, moving stuff out, bringing new stuff in, introducing people to new boutique brands. The Black Label. I remember my first introduction to the Black Label was a couple of years ago at IPCPR, and James Brown gave me a Green Hornet. And they weren't released yet. And I started smoking it in the afternoon. And I smoked it down. I smoked it to my lip blistered, pretty much.
For sure.
And later that night in the lounge area of the hotel, James Brown was there with a few people, and and Tommy knows him, so we stopped and we talked to him, and I'd never met him, and Tommy introduced me, and I looked at him and I said, "Listen," I said, "that Green Hornet you gave me," I said, that's the best thing I've smoked so far at this show. Yeah. I said, I liked it so much, I smoked it down to the nub, I let it go out, and then I chewed it like tobacco.
Yeah. That's just intense. I love that stick.
I said it with a little bit of a smile on my face, but that's the first time I met him. I really still don't know him that well.
Did you have the beard, though? Because he's a big beard guy.
I had the beard. And I remember him giving me this look, this little bit of a grin, which, he's a pretty stone-faced guy. And he gave me this little bit of a grin, and I could tell he wasn't sure that I didn't really do that. He probably looked at me, this guy really might have let that thing go out and then chewed it like tobacco. He wasn't sure. I remember him looking at me like,
I think he ate it. When he was done, he ate it.
I know you. You did.
Yeah, this guy's a little off. He's great. So, Tommy's done a good job of introducing people to some boutique brands that they've never heard of. We've been very fortunate in our region that we were the first cigar lounge. There was a cigar shop previous that had been defunct for years. They did a great job, but it was years ago. So when you open, it's one of the luxuries we had is when you open in an area that is virgin territory, you can build the palates of your customer, which is sort of unique.
Yeah.
Whereas if you open in a market that has
seven other shops, they want the same shit.
They want the stuff that they're already on. Their palate's already built.
Yep.
So it's been an interesting process to watch and see these people come in, and I really don't know what I like to smoke. I've only smoked, a couple times a year when I'm with my uncle on the golf course.
I only smoke Gurkha Ghost.
I've only had one, but it's the only one I smoked.
I can throw out the names. Don't worry about it.
And, but the beauty of Tommy is that he knows the product. Last night we sat there at 11:30, 12 o'clock. There was a woman there from Connecticut with a friend from California who she didn't know cigars at all. And she was like, well, I like this. And Tommy's like, boom, 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 try this. What about, she had 4 or 5 in her hand, and I think that the guy that she was with was kind of testing him. Oh, is this like the LaFleur, the LFD 7? And he had it on. He's like, oh, it's like that, but blah, blah, blah. If you like this, try that. And he knows the product. And I'm not saying Greg doesn't. Greg's more like me. We know enough about it.
I know enough
and we like it.
To be dangerous.
But Tommy knows every stick in there.
Tommy will tell you who rolled it.
Oh, yeah.
Their home address.
He has a wealth of knowledge.
And if they have a dog or a cat.
Did they fought yesterday morning?
Yeah, it's incredible. Yeah. It really is.
He's got a really deep knowledge of the product.
One more question before you go. Right? When you went to Black Label, did you get to smoke the stuff that they have on the line, but it's not
Well, I had the Neon Tiger. Well, the Neon Tiger. I had the Neon Tiger.
Neon Tiger. The Misfit.
I definitely had that. But more importantly, what I left there with were samples of everything we tasted, blended, and the stuff that we were doing. So I have cigars in my humidor at home that are not made for anyone. They're so to have a few of them,
still different than me.
So blend number 5, blend number 7, and I'm like, when I tested them,
a week.
Now they're a year old.
Yeah.
So like every once in a while I go in there, I'm like, oh man,
not yet.
I got. But I take notes on everything.
Yeah.
So as we expand and we grow, we have the sizes that we're allowed to make as per the FDA, and I'm like, can we do that blend number 6 that we had in September of 2017 or 16, whatever it was? So I have that, which is pretty awesome.
That's awesome. Yeah, when I went to Vintage, Tommy had gifted me a couple of the lines. Actually, a lot, but he gifted me like almost all the lines that they had. Except he took it from his private stash. He's like, "Oh, this came from if you visit the factory," and Tommy knows. He's like, "I know you would appreciate this, right?"
Yeah.
I'm like sitting in Vintage. I'm like,
Yep. See ya.
right away, like
Gurkha,
right away.
Gurkha
And,
out.
yeah.
BLTC in.
Right, and then and I'm having. I'm like, oh my god, can I get more? No, you can't. I'm like,
Yeah.
not from Tommy. Like, where can I
Where
call
can I-
this guy?
No,
to
yeah,
get this guy
nobody
to
could get him at that point.
Yeah,
I think Tommy was there for their first official factory tour once they moved over.
So that's how it went down.
Yeah, so Tommy got over there. He got an invite to come down when they got moved over to the new factory. So he got to come home with the Misfit.
And the aging room is amazing.
The
there.
Neon Tiger. And
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So when you coming out with this new line?
Hopefully November.
November? Okay, yeah.
Yeah, we're
so
looking at November.
check in with us. I'm Joe H at StogieGeeks.com.
Absolutely.
Check in with us, and we'd like to have you back on the show. Maybe we can do a little unveiling and and then do that there.
Oh, they're
within your travels.
Everything we've
you know.
had there, just not only the ones that we've that we're making now, but like I said, the samples. There's nothing bad that comes out of there.
Yeah.
And I'll give you a testament to what they do is that they only use grade A tobacco. So when I have a cigar that I don't like, I won't rate that on 1 or 2. It's 3 or 4 or 5. I'll open the cigar up.
Yeah.
And if you open up a cigar and it looks like someone held the leaf up and put a 12-gauge shotgun to it, it's not a really good cigar. It might be decent tobacco. You open up anything out of Ovea Negra, you're going to open up and you're going to see it's a full leaf.
Yeah.
He's doing it differently than almost anyone else is.
Yeah, I'm the type of person that, like, if we do a Skype interview here at Stogie Geeks and they've pre-shipped us the stuff, it usually doesn't make the interview. So I remember it was Spencer Drake from HR Cigars. I'm like, oh, I smoked this thing. It was like 56 or 60 ring gauge. He's like, that didn't even come out yet from IPCPR. I'm like, that was the first thing I smoked. I was like,
how'd you get that?
He's like, you didn't wait for it? I'm like, no.
Why would I wait for that?
He's like, you didn't wait for the interview? I'm like, nah, I'm not like a cigar saver. Like, if you gave me like a limited thing,
Smoke it.
like if you said, dude, I got this off the line, I would be like, today's the day.
It's a really good cannoli. I'm going to eat that now. I'm not waiting 3 days to eat that cannoli. Like, I want that in my face.
So definitely check in with us. Best of luck to you in your business.
Thank you so much.
Greg, best of luck to you in Vintage, and say hi to the crew for me.
Thanks,
I will.
Joe.
I will make the pilgrimage over there.
Sure.
You know what I mean? It's typical. I need a couple more weeks to
permission slip from your mom.
You know,
Put the baby in the little the papoose thing. You puff it away.
Bring your brother down. Have a Line of Duty cigar.
Yeah. I need a little brother time when he get. But he's a police officer, dude. I can't go out. Even yesterday, he was supposed to come see my son, right? Dude, I'm picking up a detail. I'm like, hey, here we go, right?
Excuses, man.
Uncle Matt, right? There you go. Typical.
Get your ass over here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Matt, if you're listening, get your ass over here.
That's right. I don't know if Matt knows how proud his brother is of him, but I remember when he was, I believe, in the academy. And you talking to me about him, we were sitting at, where were we? We were in Providence.
Okay.
I think we were at Mike Shine's.
Okay, yeah.
Tammany Hall.
Yeah.
And that's got to be going back a couple years.
Yeah, that was the roller event. I had Osmani to do a cigar rolling for my Cigar Club radio show.
No, I think it was John Hart was there with Drew Estate.
Okay. All right.
And you would stop by.
We did a radio promo for the John Hart event. Yep,
yes,
that's what it was.
And you would stop by, and I remember you talking to me, and I could just hear it in your voice. How
sitting in the booth.
How proud
right next to the
of you
humidor.
were of your brother. I believe he was in the academy at the time.
Yep.
Or was about to start the academy.
Yeah.
And I remember how proud you were of him. As a former police officer, I could just hear it in his voice, and I've never met his brother. I don't know his brother, but it was great to listen, and now to hear, he keeps me up to date every now and then. I'll say, hey, how's your brother doing? And he's changed departments, and now he's, getting into the details and the overtime and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, he's playing now. He's not the new guy.
The
anymore.
FNG.
Yeah, he's not the FNG.
He's not the FNG.
He's the salty vet.
Yeah, it's amazing to see him go. It's my little brother, right? And I will tell you that in order to get, I live in Bristol, Rhode Island, right? So in order to get to Bristol, I could go around Fall River. I can cut through Warren. It's tomato, right? Depends on the traffic, whatever, right? Or where I'm going. And I got to drive through Warren. And the worst part about having a little brother who's a police officer is when I see him on the side of the road, and I know his facial expressions, right? He's my little brother. He's 10 years younger than me, so I'm 43. He's 33, right? So it's like, I see him do like his little facial expressions. I'm like, dude, this guy's giving him hell. Like I want to jump out of the car and be like, dude, you're messing with my brother. You know what I mean? Jerk. And I was telling my mom that story, you know, and you know, or his mom too, our mom, right? And she's like, I know, I've seen him drive around, and you know when he does that eye blinky thing, you could tell like
he's getting agitated.
He's getting annoyed. I'm like, dude.
You don't get annoyed. Just the more they talk, the more you're right. No big deal.
But I will.
They don't do this anymore. They don't know what this is anymore, my friend.
I will leave the Stogie Geeks listener with this. Okay, first of all, if you want to catch up on Line of Duty Cigars, you want to get some swag, you want to purchase a cigar, see what it's all about, go to lineofdutycigars.com, check them out. Mention that you heard about it here from Stogie Geeks. And also email me with your experience, joeh@stogiegeeks.com. Here is my takeaway from my brother, right? It was Christmas time, right? He had to work because he's the new effing guy, right? He's the new guy. And so our mom lives in Warren, which is the town that he's in. And he came over in his uniform, and they get a 10:20 or whatever the break is, right? He has like 20 minutes to sit with the family, hug, blah, blah, blah. And like, me and my cousin Mikey were like, dude, talking to your brother, like, this was Christmas night, right? I was like, I feel drunk. I'm like, I know, right? I was like, I know.
Because he's in uniform, right?
Like, he's in uniform, and I'm talking to him, and like, we're only sipping wine. Everything's cool.
He takes his car keys out. He puts them on the counter, right?
And like, there's times when I'm talking to my brother, and I'm like, did I drink today? Like, because he does that whole he does that whole, yeah, tell me about your story. I'm like, dude. Where were you? Can you take out the cop, please? Like, I'm your brother.
Who ate the last turkey?
Exactly.
You know, it's just one of those family moments.
That's
you know what
funny.
I mean? It's like I just can't turn it off. It's my little brother.
It's hysterical. God bless him.
No,
sounds like a good guy.
Yeah, he is. I'll bring him to your place so you can officially meet him. And,
please do.
You know, because it's like I've seen him grow. You know, I remember being a kid. I wanted to carry him into the house, like from the hospital.
Yeah.
Mom came home from the hospital, and like I had to carry him. I was 10 years old, and all that stuff. And like I've seen him grow, and just to see him, you know. And then he graduated college, worked for my company, and then left. And that was a sad day. It's like, you're gonna do that now. It's like,
and he would sit here. His brother Matt would sit here and go, "Yep." And then he did this to me. And in the third grade, he made me eat that sandwich with the.
That's we know why he's so nervous anytime he's in uniform.
Because he knows payback's a bitch.
That's right. That's probably true. But definitely check in with us. Thank you for taking time out of your schedule to visit us here.
Thank you for doing what you do.
Yeah, definitely. You know,
we will.
Don't be a stranger to the show for sure.
I won't. Definitely not.
And best of luck to you on your project.
Thank you.
And if you email me, just keep in touch with some of the projects that you're doing, and we can update the Stogie Geeks listener and stuff like that. And if it doesn't jive with your schedule for you to physically be here, technology-wise, we can have you Skype in and then do that there.
We'll figure that.
The downside is you got to send samples.
Oh, absolutely.
I'll make sure I give you the address.
Yeah, send them to Vintage. I'll make sure Joe gets them.
By way of.
All right, absolutely.
An open box.
Absolutely. Thank you for listening to this edition of the Stogie Geeks podcast show. We will see you next time.